Objectives today are to understand and apply the relationship among factors in rate problems, identify the constant of proportionality from graphs, tables, equations, and verbal descriptions, solve problems involving a missing factor in a rate equation using the different forms of an equation, and use rates and proportional reasoning to solve real world problems, including consumer situations. So, our opening question for today is I want to know if any of you have ever babysat or dog sit. Braden said, yeah. Braden, did you get paid to babysit? No. Has anybody ever got paid to babysit or done another job that you got paid for?
I have.
All right. What'd you get paid for, Talia?
Mr. Martin Vincent needs you.
All right. Vincent, what's up?
I was waving my hand to say yeah.
I got you. So, Vincent, tell me what you got paid for, and then we'll hear what Talia got paid for.
Cutting the grass.
All right. Vincent, how much did you make for cutting the grass?
35.
Did you get paid for doing the whole yard, or did you get paid by the hour?
The whole yard.
All right. All right. So that means that Vincent got $35 per yard, okay? Because that was only 1 yard that he mowed, and he made $35. So that's a unit rate, right? So if he mowed 2 yards, or he mowed the yard twice, how much would he have made?
70.
Yeah, $70. All right. So see how we can use a unit rate to figure out how much money we'll make if we do something more than one time? All right. Talia, tell us about you.
I babysit my little brother and sister.
Did you get paid to, or you just do it?
Yes. I got paid $40.
Got paid $40? So did you get paid for the time, or did you get paid for the whole job?
I don't know. I guess the whole job.
Gotcha. All right. So is there anybody that got paid by the hour for something? If you got paid by the hour, tell me.
I did for mowing my mama's yard.
All right. You got paid by the hour or for the job?
For the hour, by the hour.
How much did you make an hour?
$7.
All right. So if we were using that as a unit rate, what would we say? What did Madeline do?
She made $7 an hour.
That's right. And so if we were using her unit rate, what would she get paid if she worked for 3 hours?
$21.
Good shot. How'd you do that so fast?
7 times 3.
Good.
Easy.
That man, he's got it. He's a mathematician. All right. So he's 100% correct. So the reason that I ask these is what kind of unit rates are used in job situations? Are both of those used, Tamarian?
Oh, I'm about to answer it. I'm about to tell him how I got paid an hour.
Oh, okay. Tell us.
So I went over my brother's house and he don't live by me, but I got paid every $5 per hour.
Awesome.
And I got $40 from that.
All right. What were you having to work on?
No, just teaching.
Okay.
Teaching.
Cool. That's awesome. So thinking about the types of situations that we've talked about, what kind of unit rates did we talk about? Unit rates that involved what? How did we get paid? We either got paid by the what?
By the hour or the full job.
By the hour or the full job. That's right. So what are the units that are being compared in these rates? What's being compared? The money to the what?
Job.
Yeah, money to the job or money to the hour, right? Does that make sense or not really?
That makes sense.
All right. So tell me this. What's the same about both of these unit rates? What's the same? In both tasks, what's happening that's the same?
What do you mean? Like,
Well, what's the same about the unit rates and what's different about the unit rates? Like, how are they alike and how are they different? Nobody knows? Well, are they alike in that we were paid a certain amount of money for something for an amount of time? Weren't we paid for an amount of time?
you're the same as you got paid every hour?
Yeah, so we got paid every hour, and some jobs we got paid by the job, right? So that's kind of how they're different. But the way they're alike is we got paid for both of them, right? Yes or no? Tamarian said yes. All right. We got paid for both, and both of them are unit rates. We know that if we do the unit rate and double that amount of work or triple that amount of work, we're going to make more money, right? All right.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So today we're going to be working with fractions, with time, and with money. So some of us are going to do really good because they are used to working with decimals and fractions, and some of us might struggle a little bit. So I want you to make sure that you use your calculator right here. So make sure you're using that calculator today. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started with page 7. And you'll notice that we're talking about this girl that works in a coffee shop. Her name is Mallory. So let's get Miss Alora to read about Mallory.
Mallory works at a local coffee shop. Last week she worked 22 hours and 30 minutes and earned $258.75. How much does Mallory earn per hour?
So, what do you think we could do, my guys and girls, to figure out how much money she makes per hour? What are we going to have to do to figure that out?
Try to divide how much money she has into the hours.
That's correct. That's correct. So, we got to think about how we can write time as a single number because right now that time is set up in hours and in minutes, but we need to be in just one. It either needs to be in minutes or just hours. And then, just like he said, we're going to do the dollars divided by the time. So, how can we convert minutes to hours or hours to minutes? In other words, what portion of an hour is 30 minutes?
Half an hour.
Yeah, it's a half an hour. Since it's a half an hour, that means they worked how many hours?
Half an hour. Half an hour. What about 22.5?
That's right. 22.5 hours was worked. And so, thinking back to what Vincent said, he said we're going to take what and divide it by what?
You're going to take 22.5 and divide it by 258.75.
All right. If we do it that way, is it going to tell us how much she makes?
The other way around.
Yeah, we want to do it the other way around. That's right. We want to do $258.75 divided by 22.5 hours.
You'll get 11.50.
That's right. So that means she makes $11.
$1.50, my bad.
Good. $11.50. So how do we know it's 50 cents and not 5 cents?
Because the five just gets paid after. There's always the tenths and the hundredths place.
That's right. The tenths and the hundredths place. So the 5 is in the tenths place whenever we do this. So I'm going to put this in a calculator for those of us that struggle with those decimals so we can see how it works. We're going to divide by 22.5 hours and we get 11.5. But just like Miss Angel said, she said that this 5 is in the tenths place. So that means that 5 tens would be 5 dimes, which is 50 cents. So we get $11.50. And that $11.50 is our what?
Unit rate.
That's right. It's our unit rate. And so, what kind of questions can we answer with the unit rate like this? What kind of stuff could we answer?
We could say the unit rate shows. We could say the unit rate shows how much money Mallory makes per hour.
Correct. All right. So, think about questions we could say. Like, Mallory makes so much money. So, how long did she work? So, give me an example like that. We got 17 people in
Well,
here.
you could reverse it and say, if Mallory makes $11.50 per hour and she worked 22.5 hours, how many hours did she work in a week, or how much money did she get in a week?
Correct. Good job. Great job. So we can ask how much money she earned, or we could ask how many hours did she work, depending on how much money she made, right? That was a great job, Levi. So we got a lot of people doing great jobs. Braden did a good job showing us how to do that. Miss Angel did a great job explaining. So if we check our work, they did exactly what we did. Okay. They said that 30 minutes is equal to a half hour. Another way that we could get that is doing 30 divided by 60, and that'll give us a half hour. We can do this for any amount of minutes. Like if it was 10 minutes, it'd be 10 divided by 60, or 20, or 30, or 40, or 50, 45, etc. We would be able to convert to hours based on that. And just like Levi said, we can answer these type of questions. So let's let Ms. Brooklyn D read that for us, please.
This unit rate allows you to answer questions about how much Mallory will earn if you know the number of hours she will work.
Great job. So we're going to take this information and we're going to put it to use on questions 2 through 4 in our workbook. This right here is question 1 in our workbook on page 59. And we're going to work on questions 2 through 4 on page 59 and 60. So we're going to do that on pages 8 and page 9 on Agile Mind in the computer. So at this time, we're going to start on page 8, and we're going to get Miss Marginet to read this for us, and then I'm going to give y'all about 5 minutes to solve these two problems. Okay? I want us to work on our own, and we'll see what happens. All right, so Miss Marginet, will you read that, please?
You found out that Mallory earns $11.50 per hour. Let's X be the number of hours Mallory worked and Y be the amount she earns. The amount of money Mallory earns for the time worked is a proportional relationship. Can you write an equation to describe the relationship? What is the constant of the proportion?
Proportionality.
Proportionality.
Good job. All right. So I want you all to work on this for the next 5 minutes to solve the first question and the second question that says if Mallory works 20 hours and 45 minutes, how much will she earn? Now remember that equations are written in the form of y equals k times x. And we were showing that yesterday in our video. So I'm going to write that right here. Y equals k times x. Remember that k is our constant of proportionality.
Well, I know how to solve the bottom one, I think.
Okay, tell me what you did.
So I did, I think that 20 is 20 hours and 45 minutes is 20.75.
How'd you get 20.75? What'd you do?
Well, I know that like there's 30 minutes in an hour. But no, not 60 minutes in an hour.
Yes, ma'am.
And for 30 minutes it was 0.5. And I know like you added 15 to get 45.
Correct.
Yeah. And that's what I did. And I guess it was correct. And I did 20.75 times $11.50. And I got $258.62.
Okay, you're very, very close. Everything that you did was 100% correct, all up until the last part. It's the 62 cents that's off. We're going to talk about why it's off here in just a second. All right, so everything that Angel told us to do is 100% correct. All right. She said that we are going to take the time that she worked, which was 20 hours or 20 and 7,500 hours, because she said that there are 60 minutes in an hour. And if you break up an hour into 15-minute sections, that's 1/4 of an hour for every 15 minutes. So that means that there's 3/4 of minute or 3/4 of an hour for 45 minutes. Okay. So since there's 3/4 of an hour for 45 minutes, 3 divided by 4 is 7,500 hundredths. So 7,500 hundredths plus 20 is 20.75. And she said we're going to take that and multiply it by the amount of money she makes per hour, which is $11.50. And so when we do that, we get $238 and some change. But we know that money is rounded to the nearest what?
Hundred.
It's rounded to the nearest hundredth. That's right. Since it's rounded to the nearest hundredth, we want to.
So, go ahead.
No, you got it. You tell me what to do.
So, whenever you round it to the nearest hundredth, wouldn't it be $238.62?
Okay.
Like,
so when
62 completely left the 5.
All right, Braden, what did you say?
63 cents.
All right. Why is it 63 and not 62?
Oh, because it's 5 and above.
Like if it's 5 or more, it's 5 and above, you round up.
Yeah.
That's right. If the thousandths place, which is right here, is 5 or more, then that means that our hundredths place rounds up. If the thousandths place is 4 or less, it stays the same. So in this case, instead of having 62 cents, this is how much? Say it again.
$238.63.
Perfect. That is 100% correct. Does that make sense, Miss Angel?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good deal. All right. So we'll check that one. And that is exactly what Miss Angel said to do. And so the only one that we got wrong or that we haven't answered yet is this one up top. So we're going to see if we can answer it. So it says you found that Mallory earns $11.50 per hour. Let X be the number of hours that Mallory works and y be the amount she earns. The amount of money Mallory earns for time worked is a proportional relationship. So, can you write an equation to describe this relationship? What is the constant of proportionality? What is the constant of proportionality? We should know this. What is the constant?
11.5.
Good. It's $11.50. Since we know the constant, what do we need to do to create an equation?
Write in the sentence form.
Okay, so tell me what to write. What would we write?
We can say that since I don't really know how to just put it in sentence form. I could just figure out how the answer would be.
All right, so let's check this out. It says that y is what?
The amount that she earns.
Correct. And it says that x is the what?
Number of hours.
All right, so since y is the amount she earns and x is the amount of hours she works, what is k?
11.5.
Correct. So if we were to write this out, we would say what?
Y equals 11.5x.
That is 100% correct. Because that's telling us that the amount of money equals 11.5 times the number of hours that she works. So who can restate what Vincent said? Can you restate what he said, Asia?
Mr. Martin, I can't hear you. My sound missing.
Okay, I'm gonna fix that. All right, who can repeat what Vincent said?
Okay. Vincent said that y equals 15.5x. And basically, 15.5x is the constant of.
Did he say 15.5 or 11.5?
Oh, 11.5. Then that's the constant of proportionality.
Good job. So 11.5 is the constant of proportionality. So Vincent said that y is equal to what?
11.5x.
Correct. And 11.5x means 11.5 multiplied by x. Because 11.5 multiplied by the number of hours we work will tell us how much money that Mallory makes. Can y'all see in the captions what I'm saying now?
We have to turn captions on.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to turn the captions on.
All right, cool.
I'll turn mine on because I can't hear anybody.
All right, so we're going to move on from this and go to our next part. All right. Read this for us, please, Mr. Kyron.
I gotta turn the captions off so I can see. Okay. You found that Mallory makes $11.50 per hour of work at the coffee shop. Is there another unit rate you can write for this relationship? What does that unit rate mean in the context of the situation? And what is the related constant of proportionality? How many hours would Mallory have to work in a day to make $46? Use an equation to answer the question.
All right, so I want us to take the same amount of time. I want us to take 5 minutes to answer this question. So I want you to do that now, and then we will discuss this in just a few minutes. Once again, if you need help, you can use the chat box. All right, my boys and girls. So let's look at this. Go ahead and I think we had this read just a minute ago, but let's go ahead and look at this real close. What's important here when we're looking at this? What's important? What do you see that's important, Kalia?
Important in the how many hours would Mallory have to work in a day to make $46?
Good. All right. Um, we talked about something in the previous weeks called the reciprocal. Would that be helpful here in creating another unit rate?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, how would we find the reciprocal of $11.50? $11.50 has an understood one, right? Because we know that 1150 divided by 1 equals 1150. But I can take this right here, because this is the hours, this is the dollars per hour. So could I take this and rotate it and use the hours per dollar? Could we do that? Yeah. So let's rotate that by taking the reciprocal and get the hours per dollar. And that's how we could create another unit rate, hours per dollar instead of dollars per hour. So all we did was rotate those around. And so we'll see that's what they did also. So if you would read that for us, please, Braden. You must not be able to hear me. Rachel, read this for me, please, ma'am.
Which one? The last one?
Where it says check.
Okay. So, how many hours would Mallory have to work in a day to make $46? Use an equation to answer this question.
All right, so look right above there where it says check, like what we were actually just talking about.
Oh, Mallory works 11/15 hours.
So I'm gonna.
How you say that, Mr. Martin?
All right, so Mallory works
That equation.
1 over 11.5. All right, and so that's relating the hours per dollar. So that's Mallory works 1 hour per $11.50, $11.50.
Okay.
And so that's equal to what?
About 0.9, wait, 0.09 of an hour for every dollar she earns. The related constant of proportionality is 0.09.
Great job. All right. And so Rachel also read for us how many hours would Mallory have to work in a day to make $46? So looking at that, what could we do, Sophia, to find that out?
Could you restate that, please?
Uh huh. How many hours would Mallory have to work in one day to make $46? How could we determine that answer?
I'm confused.
All right. Vincent raised his hand. He's going to help you out. Vincent, help her out.
We would have to divide
Okay.
49 into 11.5.
All right. So, Levi, do you have anything to add to that, what he said?
Oh, I thought it was 46.
Correct. So, we're going to do 46, what?
11.5. And I got 4.
Correct. $46 divided by $11.50 tells us that they worked 4 hours.
Mr. Martin, I multiplied.
All right, so let's talk about this. Vincent and Levi, why did y'all choose to divide instead of multiply?
It just seemed like because when you divide, you can find the answer. Mr. Martin,
Yes.
I didn't do divide. I multiplied it.
Yeah, I know. All right, and so I'm gonna show you in another way. All right, so let me get this out of our way so I'll have some more room. All right, so the reason that we divided is because she makes $46 in all, and it tells us to use the equation. So remember that our equation was y was the dollars, and it equaled $11.50 multiplied by the hours worked. Okay? So in order to determine this, if I did $11.50 times 46, she didn't work 46 hours, did she? Nuh-uh, she didn't work 46. So if we were using this equation, it would say 46 equals 1150 times the number of hours. We don't know the number of hours, so we're going to use an x in place of a number that we don't have a value for. All right, so in order to solve for x, I have to get x by itself. So to get x by itself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by 1150 so that I can make this equal to 1 whole. And 1 times x is just x. And so I'm left with 46 divided by 1150 because anything that I do to one side of an equation, I have to do to the other. So I'm left with 46 divided by 1150. And so x becomes 4 hours. So who can restate what I just said?
Well, first of all, is that algebra?
Yes.
Okay. So what you have to do is you have to get the 11.50 down to 1 whole. And so you divide it by 11.50. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So you divide 46 by 11.50, and that would leave you with x. So that would equal 4 hours.
Correct.
X equals 4 hours.
All right. So Levi said it's this algebra. So this is actually called pre-algebra. So it is a form of algebra. And we are going to be doing this more and more and more as the year progresses. All right. So right now I know that it can look kind of weird to us. But as you notice, we just started using equations yesterday. And so we're going to start using equations more and more, and learning how to solve for X or for Y is going to make life much simpler. All right. So I'm sure there's many of us that are probably confused on how we solved for X right then. And that's just because we missed out a lot last year because of COVID. All right. So with that being said, we have access to help. So if you're one of the people that needs help with solving for X, we can take care of that. All right. And we'll be able to take care of that on Friday evenings. Okay. So does anybody have a question about what we just did? All right. If not, this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to click on My Agile Mind. And when you click on My Agile Mind, you are going to let the page load. And once the page loads, you're going to click Assignment. And when you click on the word assignment, you're going to notice that you have 4 questions. Man, I just erased all that. And it came back. All right, so you'll notice you have 4 questions. These 4 questions are going to be worth 8 points. Make sure you try your hardest to get the correct answer and don't just click trying to find the answer. Because if you just click to find the answer, you're going to get 4 out of 8, and that's an F. We want an 8 out of 8. We want an A+. Okay? So there's 4 questions. I want you to do those now. And while you're working on those, I'm going to ask you a higher order thinking STEM. So thinking back to those 2 unit rates that we just found, which were $11.50 and one over $11.50. How were they related to each other? What were they to each other? They were a special word. What were they?
Reciprocal.
Reciprocals. That's 100% correct. They were both reciprocals of each other, and they were both constant rates. So do we always need to write 2 unit rates for a given ratio? Did we need to do 2 unit rates to answer that, or could we have just answered the problem with the 1 unit rate that we had, which was $11.50?
I think we could have answered it with the 1.
I agree
But
wholeheartedly.
it made it more interesting with the other one.
Yeah. You can do it with that other one, but to me, that's a lot of unnecessary work unless, the teacher just asks us, how do you get this answer? And then, it's important to do. However, if that's not asked, always use the unit rate that's easier to work with for finding your answer. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no or a thumbs up or thumbs down. Please. I got 1. I'm raising my hand towards y'all. Try to get something out of you. Not getting anything. Now I'm getting some thumbs up. Good deal. Good deal.